Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is my review for Girl Meets World, Season 1, Episode 4, Girl Meets Father, and this episode was fantastic. I had no issues with this episode. It was probably the best, it was by far the best episode of the season, just by far. It was absolutely amazing. I thought this episode had so many great moments, and this episode was probably the closest episode to Boy Meets World so far. It showed more the comparisons of how Maya's like Sean, things like that, and I really love the episode because of that. I thought this episode was just fantastic, and one of the things I loved about this episode was not only did Riley learn something and Maya, but Corey actually learned something too. This episode was really about traditions and how, sometimes traditions, need to change, a little bit. Sometimes traditions change. By the way, I do not know why my lighting is shit. Okay, that's better. But, sometimes traditions need to change. And I really like that theme of the episode. Basically, this episode was about Riley wanted to go to this school dance with Lucas. And, she asked out Lucas and everything. And I thought it was funny when Maya was telling her to use her grown-up voice. I thought that was very funny. And Riley sees this girl putting on makeup, basically. And this makes Riley basically want to put on makeup. So she goes to Topanga, of course, for advice. And Topanga tells her, that Topanga actually doesn't let her use her makeup. She wanted to use some of Topanga's makeup. And, basically, I thought it was so funny when Augie was spying on Topanga and Riley. I thought that was really funny to watch. But basically, Corey, the reason that Topanga doesn't want to put on makeup is because it is also the same day of this tradition that they do, where once a year, Riley, Augie, Corey, and Topanga, they go over to Coney Island, and it's always been a tradition. They always have fun, and, Corey always gets really excited about it. We see Corey come right through the door. He's really excited about it. He's planning on going with Riley and everything, because, Riley always goes. It's kind of like a father-daughter thing for them to do, and they don't really want that tradition to stop, so he doesn't really want that tradition to stop. And I thought it was definitely very funny when, the scene where Riley was telling him, like, she's growing up and everything, and he was like having a heart attack over it. I thought that was hilarious because, the way he, his facial expressions was very similar to how he acted in Boy Meets World, and I do like that they haven't changed his character or anything. I mean, that's just fantastic that they haven't changed his character. And, basically, Riley gets kind of upset with Corey because he actually tells her, no, I don't want you to go to this school dance. You're going to Coney Island. That's our tradition. And, basically, Riley walks into school, and here's where the episode actually got very dramatic. From here on out, the episode was pretty dramatic, and that's one of the reasons why I love this episode to death, because this episode was different from the first three episodes. The first three episodes were more regular Disney. Like, they were funnier than more Disney shows, but they were basically Disney. They were funny. This episode, though, was the closest to Boy Meets World because it was very dramatic, and as you guys know, Boy Meets World would sometimes do those episodes that completely shifted in tone halfway through the episode, and this episode was exactly like that. A very good example of that was the episode Quiz Show. That was an episode in Boy Meets World that started off very, very funny, and then the second half it got very serious because, the message and everything with that episode. Another example is, Teacher, Teacher. There are literally dozens of episodes I could talk about Boy Meets World that shifts tones. Almost every single episode did it. And I feel like Girl Meets World's definitely going to do that as well. Basically, what ends up happening is Riley walks into class, and Corey's handing out papers, and Corey's not really happy to see his daughter, obviously, because he kind of is upset that she's breaking the tradition. But things get really dramatic when Maya gets an F. And Maya is distraught about this. She's not only upset, she is distraught. And she's about to walk out, and Corey says, you can't walk out of my classroom. And she says, you're not my teacher anymore. You have nothing left to teach me. I'm done. And basically, it got really dramatic here because Riley walks out as well. And Riley goes to talk to Maya. Riley's pretty much thinking, surely Maya's not actually going to leave, because I guess this is like a regular thing with Maya, where Maya basically leaves all the time, and then she comes back the next day. That was definitely, it was definitely showing their friendship very well, and, basically Riley's saying you can't just leave, and Maya ends up leaving the school, and, it's really sad and everything. So then what ends up happening is, Corey's really upset. He's talking to Topanga about how he lost he lost both of them and everything. And Augie, you gotta love Augie. He's, in my opinion, probably the most adorable little kid on television right now. I mean, he's absolutely adorable. He's there for his father. He's there for his father, and it really shows father-son dynamic. And definitely when that kid is older, he is going to be hilarious. I mean, that kid when he's older, he's gonna be hilarious. I know it. When he gets older, like, say, when he gets to, like, a preteen or teenager, or Riley's age, if this show goes on that long, I feel like it can, he's gonna be really, really funny if he, gets to that age, definitely. He's already very funny, though. And, I like the bonding between him and Corey. I definitely like that in this episode. And, Topanga tells him that Riley's growing up and sometimes traditions need to change. And I really like this scene because for the first time in the show, we've actually seen that Corey still hasn't learned everything yet about being a father, He's looking back at the Coney Island clips, and you gotta feel bad for him because it's like, this is the tradition he's done with his daughter all these years. He loves doing it with her, but now he's realizing that she needs to grow up, and, she needs to grow up, and she's going to grow up, and there's nothing he can do about that, except that she's going to grow up, and he needs to face that she's going to grow up, and I thought this was a very good scene, and it also shows how Topanga is still there for him, and I just really like this scene because it really brought us back to Boy Meets World. Yes, we've had playful scenes with Corey and Topanga, but this was really the first time in the show where we saw a nice, sentimental moment between Corey and Topanga. It really brought me back to Boy Meets World, how, they always had great moments together. And, they're still a great couple, on the show, and they're still a great couple on TV. So, yeah, I definitely think that it was definitely great to see that scene. So Riley's talking to Maya, and we get kind of a funny scene. We see that Maya's is doing online school now. It's like a free trial that she signed up for, and Riley's telling her, oh, it's fake and everything, and it's not good for you to do this to yourself. And I agree with Riley. Definitely, I like seeing sort of like Maya was actually more Riley was actually more mature than Maya in this episode. For the past few episodes, Maya has been more mature than Riley, and in this episode, that was not the case. It was Riley being more mature than Maya, and I like that because it shows that even though Maya is mature about certain things, she has some things a little bit backwards. She still needs to learn a couple things. Basically, the episode, she needs to learn not to give up and everything, and I really enjoyed this. Riley's talking to Maya and telling her not to leave, and that, Corey will be there for her. And, she realizes this because Topanga comes in to talk to Riley and tells her how, Corey is always there for her. And probably the most touching moment of the show, you see Corey, he comes in and he takes Maya's hand, and after this happens, you see him ask Maya questions about the paper, and basically, he says, read it back to me, and we realize that basically what she was trying to do was she was trying to sound smart, and he knows that Maya can apply herself, and we actually see that Maya does know what she's saying in the paper. She does know what she's talking about. It's not just like random shit that she's talking about. She knows exactly what she's talking about, and I think that was definitely a very good scene, because it really showed that Maya, is smart. She just needs to apply herself, and we actually get a little bit of more character development of Maya. We find out why Maya has been acting out. We find out why Maya, is a little rebellious and things like that. Basically, she's about to tell them, but Corey and Topanga like, no, we don't want to know. But she says, no, I need to tell you guys. And basically what she ends up telling them is that she does not have a father at home. Her father left them, and he's been in another home, and it's been really tough for her. And I thought this was a great scene because it got us to care more for Maya. And still, Sabrina Carpenter is an amazing actress. She still shines in this show. Rowan Blanchard is great too, but especially Sabrina Carpenter, she's still the best in this show. And her performance in this episode was just amazing. I thought she did a great job in this scene. And it really got us to care more for her character. I still cared for her character, since the first episode. This episode made us love her character even more, and I think that's fantastic that it did that, and I was very happy with that, and that was definitely really good. Now, this kind of convinces Corey, and then, Corey does one other thing. He changes Maya's paper from an F to an A, and she said, you're giving me an A? And he says, no, I'm giving you a C+, but I'm going to show you how far you can get from an F to an A. And I really like that message because it's kind of like, if you make it sound like you're smart, it's going to sound stupid. But if you apply yourself and you do make it sound good, then, and you make the paper, sound like it should, then, and you just say, what you know, rather than, try and make yourself sound smart, then you could have a really good paper and you could get a really good grade on it. And I really like that message. And I was very happy with how much Corey was pushing her, really seeing that he does care about his students. And Maya is really like a second daughter to him. I mean, even though Riley is his main priority and his main daughter, Maya is like a daughter to him. I mean, he cares for her. It's very much like Corey's parents and Sean. If you remember in Boy Meets World, Corey's parents were a lot of times Sean's second family. I mean, Sean would always come over there, and, Corey's parents would always be there for Sean. A lot like in Girl Meets World, how, Corey is there for Maya. That's very much like Boy Meets World, and I love that about this episode. I love that they really did that in this part. And then at the, this convinces Corey that Riley's going to go to the dance. She's about to say, no, I'm not going to the dance. I will go to the carnival with you. But he says, no, you're going to the dance. But he is going to chaperone. And basically they end up going to the dance. And Farkle goes with Maya. And I thought that was really funny, because you can still see that Farkle and Maya, they do still have chemistry. I do think they're eventually going to get together. But not yet, because, it's, just not yet. It's a little too early in the series for them for anyone to get together right now. And basically, then what ends up happening is Corey calls for a father-daughter dance, and he takes Maya and Riley's hand and basically starts dancing with them. And we see, him saying how he has 2 daughters in his life, and he always will, and they will expand upon tradition. And I just thought that was a great scene. And then at the very end, we just see that, Riley is very happy that Corey went with her, and it was a very nice scene to watch, and that was basically the episode. It was a very nice episode, a very sweet episode, and I like the change in tone of this episode. This episode was the first episode that wasn't silly all the way through. The first episode, very funny. It did have dramatic moments toward the second half, but overall, like, a pretty funny episode. Second episode was focused more on the laughs. Third episode definitely focused more on the laughs. Like, last week's episode was very much focusing on the laughs. This was the first episode that kind of presented the show as a dramedy, which I really liked, because Boy Meets World at hand is a dramedy. Boy Meets World was pretty much a dramedy. It had times to be funny, but it also had a lot of times to be serious, and I really like that because it shows that this show is basically going to do the same thing, and I think that's fantastic about the show. And if they continue to make quality episodes like this, then the show is going to be very, very successful, and more people are going to watch the show, and I think that's fantastic that they're going to do that, because that's what the show should be. It should be a show where it has times to be silly and times to be serious. And it looks like next episode is the same thing. It looks like it's going to be about Maya's going to have like some troubles like stealing or something. It looks like it's going to be a really good episode next week, and I'm really looking forward to it. But a couple things I do want to say about this episode, some things that I liked. As I said, I really like that Corey, we did get to see a little bit more with how Corey still needs growing up to do as well. Even, he needs to face the fact that traditions need to expand, and I like that Corey kind of got a lesson as well from Topanga. I really like that in the episode. I really enjoyed that. I like that we focus more on Maya rather than Riley. Like, the first half focused on Riley, second half focused on Maya, and then, they combined it together. I thought that was definitely very well done. Definitely very good. I did like seeing, Lucas. I did like seeing in the beginning Maya making fun of Lucas. That was definitely very fun to watch. Maya and Lucas, as I said, Maya and Farkle, I still think that they have, a lot of, even though Maya doesn't like Farkle, I do think in the future they are going to get together. I did read a comment, though, from someone that's saying they should not get Riley and Lucas together this season. I definitely agree. This is not the season to get them together. You need to because if you remember, it took forever for Topanga and Corey to get together. It took them 3 seasons to finally, say, okay, we're together. If you can do that in this show, make it season 3, they're together, then I feel like this show can be one of the longest running shows on Disney Channel, because Boy Meets World lasted for 7 seasons. And this show, I really hope lasts for 7 seasons as well, because so far, it is great. It's doing everything I wanted to, and I think that's fantastic. It's doing everything I wanted to. It's doing everything that I could have wanted from the show, and it's not doing anything but what I wanted to do. And I think that's fantastic that the show is doing that. And again, they make quality episodes like this. I'm going to really like this show a lot more. Again, the other thing I liked was finding out more about Maya and getting us to care more for Maya. This episode really got us to care for her character, and we saw more of what her character was like, and I really like that about this episode. Definitely, though, this episode was fantastic. I really love this episode. As I said, probably the closest episode to Boy Meets World they could get to. I'm sorry, guys. I'm praising this episode. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Boy Meets World, but that's basically it for this review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know what you guys thought of this episode. I'm pretty sure a lot of you loved the episode, especially Boy Meets World fans. But I will see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for another classic movie review. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.